Okay, I've been making some pretty negative lists lately with the top 10 worst and top 10 most disappointing. Let's change it up a bit. Today we're going to be looking at the top 10 most surprising movies of 2019. This is kind of the exact opposite of the most disappointing. These are the movies that I went in thinking, oh, this is going to be really bad, or this is going to be only okay, and then I either liked it or I absolutely loved it. This is in order of how much I thought I would like it at the beginning compared with how much it improved as I was watching the movie. I didn't get to put every movie that surprised me because there was a lot of really surprising movies this year. So I want to add in the honorable mention to the movie I Am Mother, which is a Netflix original, which I found absolutely amazing. I'm not going to get to talk about it in any of these videos, so I just thought I should mention it now because I was really surprised with how good it was, but it didn't make the top 10. Also, if I sound a bit sick today and not as energetic as I'm normally trying to be, it's because I've been a bit ill today. I vomited in a park, which wasn't great. But anyway, let's jump into the top 10 most surprising movies of 2019. At number 10 is Little Women. I didn't think I was going to not enjoy Little Women when I walked in to the movie theatre, but I ended up enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. This was kind of the only, I guess, adult focused movie that I watched this year that's going for Oscars and stuff. I guess you could also count Irishman, but I didn't really enjoy that. I really enjoyed Little Women. I've never read the book, so I've been told by my family who have read the books, or the book, that I didn't get the full experience because I didn't read the books. But I thought I could really enjoy it. There was definitely some good emotional beats in it. I'm not going to spoil it in case there are other people like me who haven't read the books and weren't spoiled by friends. But I really enjoyed the movie, and I thought it was really good. I didn't understand why it was a U because I've definitely seen PG movies that weren't as scarring in some scenes, might be the best way to put it. But I don't really have much to say about the movie, just that it was really good and I really enjoyed it. At number 9 is Fighting With My Family. Now, I've heard a bunch of people say really positive things about this movie, so if you go around YouTube to a bunch of different review channels, you've probably heard of this movie. Basically, it's the real story of one of the most famous female wrestlers. I don't follow wrestling, but I can still follow the story really well, which is, of course, difficult to do, so the movie deserves credit for that, and letting people who don't follow wrestling understand it. But it's a really heartwarming movie. It's probably more of a feel-good movie than Yesterday was, which Yesterday was advertised everywhere as the feel-good movie of the year. This one was definitely more feel-good than Yesterday, but I really enjoyed it. I thought The Rock was the producer. I thought there would be more of him in it because I didn't really know what it was about when I was going in, but I would recommend this to pretty much everyone. I think it was one of the sweetest movies of the year, and it's definitely one that I want to rewatch in the future. Coming in at number 8 is Shaft. I'd heard a lot of bad things about this movie. This was the first Shaft movie I had ever seen. I hadn't seen any of the original ones, but I thought it was really good. I found it really funny, I found it really interesting, and following this plot all the way through, I thought all the actors fit their roles really well. I don't really have much to say about the movie, just I'd heard so many things, oh, this is a bad movie, oh, it's a classic Netflix original that's really bad, so I thought that's what it was going to be. But then when I watched it, I just really enjoyed it the whole way through, so again, nothing much to say about this, just that it was a good, enjoyable movie. Coming in at number 7 is Tall Girl. This is a bit of a change from the last few movies on the list, because I actually have a lot to say about this movie. Everyone has been way too mean to this movie, saying, oh, it's so stupid, oh, it's the main characters are just being annoying for no reason. One of the complaints that I was most surprised about during this movie was the idea that their problem with the movie was that Tall Girl's problem was that she was tall and she had a really good life through the rest of it. That's kind of the same through most famous rom-coms. If you look at 10 Things I Hate About You, it's kind of a lot of the same starting point. Of course, they go in two different directions, and I thought the movie was really funny. It was one of the funnier Netflix originals this year. There weren't that many actually funny ones that I saw, especially ones that were comedies. This one I found really funny, and I found the main romance of it really compelling throughout the whole thing, and I thought the ending was absolutely adorable. So I think everyone's been way too mean to this movie. It's a totally fine rom-com. Probably not one that I'm going to watch for a while, but I still enjoyed it, and everyone's just being too mean to it. And at number 6 is Hellboy. Funny story about this, I was going to go see this movie when it was in cinemas with my friend. We showed up, and we both were young. We were both 15, and it was a 15 movie, so we could see it. But we weren't allowed in because we both looked too young, and we didn't bring ID of any kind. So I had to wait till a plane ride back from America, the same plane ride that I watched Fighting with My Family, actually. And I watched Hellboy and Fighting with My Family in a kind of double bill, and I enjoyed both of them so much. I probably enjoyed Fighting with My Family a lot more, but Hellboy is a really bad movie, but it's kind of good bad. It's a bad movie that you can really enjoy. The pacing is all over the place. The flashbacks are ridiculous. The plot kind of makes no sense throughout the whole thing. But it was just fun. It was funny. It was exciting. I was never bored during it. The Hellboy is a character. I've never seen a Hellboy movie before, which is a running theme in this video. But I thought he was such an interesting character. None of the emotional beats worked at all, but there were some plot twists that I just found funny. It's not a good movie. It's not going to win any Oscars. It's probably not even going to get a sequel. But it's just a movie that I had a lot of fun with while I was watching it, and I'm definitely going to watch it in the future just as a fun, relaxing movie. Because not all movies need to be masterpieces that make you cry and think about existentialism. Sometimes you need a movie that's just fun to watch, and that's exactly what Hellboy is. And kicking off our top 5 is Knives Out. I had no idea what this movie was when I went into it. I knew it was a detective movie with Daniel Radcliffe and Chris Evans, and that was it. And it was just it was like Hellboy, it was fun, but it was probably more mature kind of fun. Probably the most entertaining part of this movie for me was Daniel Craig. I might have called him Daniel Radcliffe earlier, I'm sorry. But Daniel Craig's accent, which was so bad I felt bad about laughing about it, because it sounded so ridiculous. It was one of the most entertaining parts of the movie. Daniel Craig is definitely the most entertaining part of this movie, but Chris Evans gives a great performance, and I don't know what the main character's name is. I had no idea she was in the movie, but she was amazing. She kind of stole every scene she was in. And the movie definitely goes through this kind of narrative that you don't see in detective movies. I've watched a few mystery movies this year, and they all really quickly start to fall into the same repetitive plot beat of step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. This one completely threw that all out the window, and that made it one of, if not, probably my favourite detective movie ever. Because it's so interesting to find out what's happening, and all the plot twists and turns that you watch in it are really great, and there's some great narrative devices that they use, like one character who vomits every time they tell the truth, and the use of flashbacks, and all the other side characters are all super compelling throughout the whole thing. It was really, really fun, and it's definitely a movie that I want to watch again as soon as it comes out on DVD or something. And coming in at number 4 is The Wandering Earth. Wandering Earth is really different from the past 5 movies on this list, because all of those movies I would enjoy and I'd watch again. Wandering Earth isn't a movie that I'd probably enjoy to watch the whole thing through again. It's kind of weird. The plot of the movie, because this is probably the movie on the list that the most people haven't seen, is it's in the future, and the Earth has kind of turned into a whole spaceship, and it's jet propelling along, but then, of course, engine starts failure, they're going to be dragged into Jupiter, and one ragtag group of mechanics have to save the world. I think it's a foreign film, and the first 2 acts of it were pretty boring. I was watching this in a pretty bad mood because it was a weird time in my life, and I'd seen a bunch of pretty bad Netflix originals like Last Laugh and Isn't It Romantic relatively recently. I was kind of just watching Netflix movies because my New Year's resolution was to watch all the movies. But then, when this movie hits its final act, it kicks it into high gear with one of the most entertaining final acts I have ever seen. It was suddenly, there's just one line, and then past that line, the whole movie suddenly remembers that it's a movie, and decides to be really interesting the rest of the time. It was so cool to watch this, how they decide to change it, and there's these great emotional beats, there's these great character moments that have been building up throughout the movie. The first 2 acts, they're not that great. The final act is one of the greatest final acts, I think, ever. Easily the best final act of any Netflix original movie, and probably one of my favourite final acts of the year, if we're not counting Endgame. I would recommend watching this movie for any sci-fi fans, but if you don't like sci-fi or really intense final acts, then you might not want to watch it, but the movie's, it's just fun to look back on. It's like Endgame though. I think rewatching it, I'd just be waiting for the final act to happen, and that's not really what you want in a movie. You want a well-rounded movie that you're not waiting for the end. But as a movie that I thought I was going to hate and ended up being one that I thought was pretty good, that's how it made it so high up on the list. And coming in at number 3, the Bronze Award that I'm giving is a movie that I really wanted to talk about for a while. I've known that I've really liked this movie for a long time, and that's Unicorn Store. A lot of people do not like this movie. It was Brie Larson's directorial debut. It might not even have come out in 2019, but we're not going to talk about that because I really want to talk about this movie in this video. The plot of the movie is there's a main character who's kicked out of art school, giving up on their dreams, and then suddenly this magical store shows up near their house, and the man in it, played by Samuel L. Jackson in one of his best roles I think, offers to sell the main character a unicorn. And the whole movie is kind of a mystery of figuring out, are they actually telling the truth? Are they actually going to sell them a unicorn, or is it fake? I'm not going to spoil it, but it's really interesting about the whole movie, seeing how different characters react to the different pieces of knowledge they're given. And I thought I wouldn't like the movie going in because I'd heard all the bad reviews, but it was just a really funny, it's probably the funniest Netflix original movie of the whole year. If I had to give the funniest Netflix original award, this movie would get it. There's a lot of really funny jokes, all the characters are really great. I really enjoyed this movie, and this was my favourite movie of the year. This was the one that topped Alita Battle Angel, which we'll get on later, for a while, and it's in my top 5 favourite of the year. So I'll get to talk about more then. I won't talk about it anymore in this video, but it's a really good movie, and even if you've seen the reviews and it doesn't look like something you'd like, I'd still recommend at least giving it a shot and trying it out. And our runner-up for most surprising movie of 2019 is Rim of the World. This is another Netflix original. It's a movie that quite a few people haven't seen. There's a few actual Viners in the video, which was a bit weird to see, especially King Bak, who I think is actually a pretty decent actor in everything I've seen him in. But this movie is about a group of kids who go to a summer camp, and while they're at the summer camp, aliens attack, and they're the ones who have to save the world because of a freak coincidence of events. I came onto this movie after The Wandering Earth, so I had kind of been renewed a little bit for my hope in Netflix originals, and this movie was just, it was so good. This is probably my favourite Netflix original of the year. All the characters are absolutely amazing. There's one rich kid, I don't remember his name right now, and I'm too sick to look it up, but he steals every scene he's in. He's absolutely amazing, and I want to see him in other things because of how charismatic he was in every scene. For a movie that, like, 90% of the time is just child actors, it's really good. They all fit, they have great chemistry together, they each have their own character arc, and the movie doesn't feel bogged down with trying to explain everything. It leaves a lot of things to the imagination or just implies things instead of spending time explaining everything and spoon-feeding the audience. And with all that extra time they spend with these cool action sequences and these cool, like, bonding moments between the characters. And I absolutely love that. It's pretty funny. It's not as funny as Unicorn Store, but it works better as like an action family movie. And the final act is really intense. My one problem with the movie is when it does come to the final act is a lot of really stupid decisions are made, and these have all been smart characters throughout the rest of the movie. But it's still such a fun movie, and a movie that I'm really going to enjoy watching in the future. But coming in at number 1, the most surprising movie of the year is Alita Battle Angel. I loved this movie, because when I saw it, I thought I would hate it. I saw the trailer, or just the thumbnail of the trailer, and I thought, oh my god, that looks so bad, I don't want to see something like that. Then I was invited to my friend's birthday party, where we were going to see the movie, and I thought, okay, I'll watch it, I probably won't enjoy it. And I sat down in the movie theater thinking, oh, this is going to be a really bad, kind of CGI mess of a movie. And it was so good. This movie was amazing. There's this basically non-stop action throughout the entire thing. It's really intense through some of the action scenes. The character of Alita is probably the best character that was introduced through movies this whole year. They're really, like, the way their character develops is super cool, because they're kind of, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's kind of a dystopian future where humans have been turning into cyborgs slowly, and one cyborg kind of falls from the heaven area where all the rich people live, and there's suddenly this complete badass who can defeat anyone pretty easily, which leads to these awesome fight sequences kind of across this steampunky city, which is really cool. There's all these great side characters, like a guy who's got a whole team of electric dogs. There's some great emotional beats kind of through the movie. My biggest problem with the movie is some of the action scenes felt so intense that when I reached the final action scene, it didn't feel like it was elevated above anything else. But because all the action scenes were so interesting, I was never bored. I was scared the movie was going to end by about halfway through, and it just kept going. There were all these cool action sequences, all these cool characters, and we might be getting a sequel. I don't know. James Cameron can sometimes take a while with his sequels, as the Avatar franchise has shown us. But this is probably one of my favorite movies he's made, definitely my favorite he's made in the past few years, and it's really great. I'm so glad I got to talk about it in the most surprising movies, because it didn't quite make my top 10, which I'll be talking about soon, but this was just such a fun movie, and I'm really excited that I might have a sequel soon, and, well, that's it. So I hope you'll enjoy this movie. Leave in the comments below your top 10, top 5, top 3, or just most surprising movie of the year, or maybe just put in your best, because my best movies of the year is going to be coming out tomorrow on New Year's Eve, as well as a live stream that I'm going to be doing where I go through every movie that I've seen this year and kind of rank all of them, all 51, so I'm excited for that. But anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you all in the next one, and goodbye.